so for Nico, some updates out of Atlanta from the reporters that are down there. Craig Counsell is from Eddie Lee of the Sun-Times. Craig Counsell said Nico Hoerner tweaked his hamstring in batting practice. He wanted to warm up for the game, see how he felt. Cubs decided not to risk it. We'll reevaluate tomorrow. And then follow-up from Megan Montemurro of the Tribune. Hoerner said he's day-to-day, asked if it bothered him before today. He said we're always dealing with little things here and there. So may have been something that was a little bothersome for him, but, like, obviously something that he felt he could play through. And I guess today a little more bothersome and something that the Cubs decided to just give him the night off, not risk it and reevaluate tomorrow.
I'll be honest, it's a hamstring. I don't want him playing tomorrow.
If he tweaked it in batting practice today enough to where they didn't want to play him,
just take the sweep if that's what it means. You cannot afford to lose Nico Hoerner.
I know. I hear you.
10 games.
I hear you.
Well, that's kind of what we talk about with we talked about with Morel yesterday. How many, like, the foot thing, the what am I?
I know they're gonna have no offense, but I'd almost sit Morel too.
Well, that's the other thing is, like, can you afford to it's the balance of, can you afford to keep these guys out of your lineup when the offense is already struggling, versus can you afford to let these guys continue to play through things and possibly risk, getting real injured, right? Like, some of these guys are playing hurt. It's a little different than playing injured. Just the words I've always used is, like, they're separate words. Can you let a guy play through little bumps and bruises, a little bit of hurting, but can you afford to, like, allow that risk of them getting injured and missing more time than they may otherwise, right? Like, that's the balance, and that's the, when you're talking about Jed Hoyer, Carter Hawkins, Craig Counsell, the decisions they have to make, that's what they have to balance.
Let's be careful, though, because it's not like this is last year in September and they just dropped a couple games with the Diamondbacks and they need to go balls, so they can't afford, like, we talked about it a couple minutes ago. They're one game right now out of the first place in the division. So I would urge, just from my perspective, it's like, let's not maybe overreact. Obviously, it's been, there's been some bad injuries, but let's not risk the long-term health of the team just to maybe stop this.
Stop the bleeding.
Yeah, in the short term. Yeah.
Well, I was going to save this for later in the show, but let's do it because it's part of this. So Hoyer was on the score this morning, and he was talking specifically about Dansby Swanson, who'd been playing through it and wasn't showing the normal range that he shows at shortstop, and he wasn't hitting like Dansby Swanson. It just wasn't the same guy out there recently. And he was asked about, like, how do you tell him you've got to sit down? Because this is a guy in his opening press conference came to the Cubs and said, I'm playing every game. I'm playing 160. And they're like, well, I don't know. And he's like, no, I'm playing every game. I'm playing every game, and I'm going to tell everybody in that clubhouse that's what they should want to do too, play every single game. But at some point, it becomes a detriment to the team. So Hoyer's response on how does it get done, he said first, like, well, I ran into him, and we talked about it, and then Craig ran into him, and he talked about it. Then we all talked about it, and then finally it was like, this is it. He said, quote, it's a very difficult thing in general, trying to find that balance between playing banged up and being out there and helping the team minus win versus when you need a break because you're going to continue to get worse. You're not going to help the team that much, and you're not going to get back to health later on. That's the other problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's the balance.
For instance, if this is I know we talked about Morel's toe last night, and some people were like, is he hurt? And I'm like, well, he didn't look great again tonight. Could he use the day off? I don't know. Some guys, I guess, you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He did DH, so that it's bothering him some, and then he got hit again. As for, like, Dansby and now Nico, a hamstring, I don't want him to pull the hamstring playing tomorrow, and then we miss him for a month because this team cannot afford to lose Nico Hoerner for a month.
Yeah,
that's basically my point. Is just,
and I don't know if one game off is going to be enough of that, but, like,
yeah. Does he need one game? Does he need two? Does he need three? And
I'd rather have three than a month.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the balance. Is like, you could potentially have him back in 3, 4, like whatever the number is, right? Yeah. But you don't have to put him on the IL, which means you're not losing him for 15 days. But if the risk is severe enough, might it be better to just put him on the IL than risk that injury coming and then you lose him for a month or something like that, right? Like that's all I'm saying is like I don't know if there's a right answer because you don't know until these things actually play out. But that's why the guys that are in charge, like that's the decision making that they have to go through as far as can we afford to just give Nico a few days off here at a time when our offense is already slumping and see if he can get healthier.
Here's a meatball comment.
We got meatballs
all
here.
Right?
Yeah. And Barb's got meatballs for the dogs next door. Turkey meatballs.
Over the weekend, the Cubs were the MLB pipeline put in two more or a new player into the Cubs top 100 or into the top 100.
Right, 8 now.
8 Cubs are now on the MLB pipeline. All right. Considering the injuries, all these things considered, what do I want Owen Casey to come up now? Like if this team was healthy, no. But considering where this team is at, and considering we don't want Nico Hoerner to be out a month, and you want to take it easy, and all these little things, like I just use Owen Casey as an example, but it's not like your farm system sucks. You have actual depth, like actually use it.
Well, Brendan Davis is on the 40-man, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. I think if
he's been playing great, why not bring up a hot bat for a couple days?
And I say that
Luis Vasquez,
I'm saying this as like,
I know Gary.
I'm saying this is like a meatball thing because I feel like any fan could just sit in front of a microphone like I am right now and say, "Oh, call up this guy; he'll save the team," or this or that. That's the only thing that holds me back because I know because none of these prospects are Chris Bryant. Okay, I know that whoever you call up isn't going to completely fix everything, but again, it's not like your farm system sucks. And Vasquez has been playing well in AAA this year. So why not give
40-man? I think that's
give him a chance. If Nico actually does hit the injured list, I think he will get the call. And actually play him. Don't just call him up to be depth and continue to play Mastroboni and Madrigal at the same time. You know what I mean? You have dudes that you can use. I hate saying it because I'd rather them call up their best prospects as a necessity, not because guys are hurt. But with Swanson out, Nico potentially being out, I mean, you need some guys to come in and help provide a spark because you've gone 18 scoreless innings against the Braves this week. And hell, you didn't even really play that well against the Pirates. And honestly, since mid-April, the offense really hasn't played that well. So at what point does the front office feel like we need some sort of spark, something? I just feel like they haven't had that. They haven't, like PCA kind of, but again, PCA was called up because of an injury, not because he was ready. And he has performed as well as you could have asked considering how bad he played in AAA, right? But he might go out for somebody else to come in and just to see how it goes.
We all silly like the mayor.